Hi, I'm Tanya Leslie, your personal development coach. So why is it important to get clarity in life? Well, the reality is we live in a world with other people, okay? And they have expectations, and they sure as heck make demands, don't they? So if we don't establish our own set of expectations and demands for ourselves and how we want to engage with other people, then we will fall into helping others, pleasing others, and meeting their deadlines and their goals. Now, this happens at work, okay? It happens at home, and it happens with our friends too. I mean, think about the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning. Do you consider who's messaged you, who's contacted you, who you might need to respond to? You whip out your phone, you check your WhatsApps, your DMs, your emails, maybe your dating profiles, okay? Then you go into responder mode. You assess the damage, you think, yep, I need to respond to all these people. We wake up with technology. We start our day typically with our phones. And our phones are designed to give us notifications, right? So this is what helps us be in that responder mode. That notification is saying, I have charge over you. Take your eyes and look at me. Read what I have to say and respond to me. This is what that does. These first precious moments of life, when we first wake up, are already dedicated to serving others. We haven't thought about what we want. We've flicked on the responder mode, and then we set ourselves up to be like this for the rest of the day. Think about it. Can you even differentiate the last few days of the week, let alone the month? What have you actually done for yourself? Where in those days have you prioritized time to consider what you want, to make sure that the actions that you're doing, the way you're helping other people, are in alignment with what you expect from yourself? Now, I'm not talking about becoming a super selfish person who is out there just pleasing themselves and doing whatever they want to do. What I'm talking about is getting clarity about what you want to make sure that you are getting just as much as you need from your day and your week and your monthly experience as you are in serving others. To make sure that there is alignment between what's going on in the outside world, the things that we're responding to, with what we want from the inside world. So yes, this course is about getting the balance right by having a clear set of guiding principles and practices for yourself to articulate the clarity around what you want, how you want to be, and the experiences you want to have, and to also articulate your life purpose so that you have a statement, a reference point that you can come back to when making any big decision in your life, okay? That means assessing opportunities that might come your way, or whether you need to create some that are in alignment with who you are, and using that purpose statement as that reference point. And you can apply this to every area of life that's important to you. That means if it's career now, prioritizing your career. If it's for your relationships, prioritizing your relationships. Now, this sounds like a big deal because it is a big deal. We are dealing with your life and how you live your life and how you impact and serve others. Now, I've learned from the best in the personal and professional development industry and coached people from all around the world with varied titles, varied backgrounds, and varied ages. And what I can tell you is that every single person at most points in their life are seeking this personal clarity. It's something that every human seeks. That's right, you can see now, no one is immune. And if you've ever been doubtful, I can confirm you are not the only one. It's just your ego, that loud voice in your head that makes you think that you are unique in your suffering. When the truth is, we all have moments of suffering. We all have moments of pain. We all strive for more. And ultimately, we survive. We thrive. But I've worked out that it's the people who have done the introspective work, the work on themselves, getting clarity about what they want and how they're going to deal with particular situations, how they're going to be in them, that are able to move past the challenge or the struggle faster. They're able to achieve what they want faster. So you can see now a common theme with clarity. We start from the inside. Not the notifications on the outside coming through your phone, other people's opinions. It starts here. Why? Because the outside world is constantly changing. Opinions change, the market changes, business evolves. So if your reference point is outside of yourself, you can see then how you're setting yourself up for feeling out of control, developing anxiety a little more easily. It's easy to see how someone can feel behind the 8 ball from the moment they've woken up. Like, what meeting do I need to be at now? Which call do I need to dial into? Always in a state of response creates that kind of anxiety. Now, for as long as I can remember, I struggled with how to make decisions. I always wondered whether I was on the right path. I knew I wanted to be successful. I knew I wanted to be empowered financially and progress in a career and be recognized for doing something, for making a change in the world. I just wasn't sure how that would look for me. I thought it might be helpful if I knew what my passions were. Maybe that would lead me to figuring out what my life purpose was. But when I asked people, how do I figure this out? I guess they'd point me to some helpful books and I would, have enough information to make a smaller decision or a smaller step or feel a little bit better by learning how to manage my emotions around things. But I wasn't actually progressing in the direction I wanted. And what I learned was that no one had an answer for me. Now, experiencing this meant that I also struggled with self-confidence. Me, I know, struggled with self-confidence. It's true. And the way I talked to myself was actually quite mean. You're not really smart enough, are you, Tanya? You're sure as heck not skinny enough. Your skin's not the right color. My brain always found a reason to tell me why I wasn't good enough for something. I felt like I was the only one that was suffering, and I did things like overeat, undereat, over-exercise, not exercise enough. I wasn't balanced. And even when I landed my first proper job as a lawyer, I thought, well done, pat on the back, Tanya, I've made it. I've landed in a safe position. But even then I felt more like a fraud. I had a serious case of imposter syndrome. Like maybe I didn't really belong. It's that old tape again playing that you're not good enough track on repeat. Then there was a turn in the economy, okay? I was made redundant because the work dried up, and my confidence, which was already quite low, took another hit. Now at this point, I realized I had to face the music. Do I continue in another area of law that was more profitable? Or do I just start over? Start again? Now I had some time to think. After that blow, I wrapped myself in a duvet for a week and contemplated the meaning of my life. I realized that I was making the best decisions I could with the knowledge and experience that I had at that time. So with that realization, I figured I should increase my knowledge and expand my life experiences so that perhaps I could make better decisions, better choices about my life and which direction to take. So I adopted the mindset of a learner and applying what I learned as an experimenter. Tom, I don't think that's a word. Experimenter?
Experimentist?
Experimental practices. So I went to the most logical place. Sorry, Tom. Tom is an amazing videographer, by the way.
Thank you.
So I went to the most logical place that I knew I could find knowledge. I went straight to books. I knew I could go to books, read and learn without facing the potential of being embarrassed for trying something new. I challenged myself to read a book a week for a year. I learned about all kinds of topics from psychology, biology, how to manage emotions, money, marketing, business strategy, how to set up businesses, communication, relationships, the list goes on. And for the following 2 years, I expanded the way that I absorbed information. My eyes were getting quite tired, so I also used Audible for audiobooks and listened to recorded lectures and podcasts. So I added that into the way I consumed information, and for the following 2 years continued to absorb a book, a podcast, or a lecture per week, then for a total of 3 years. And people asked me, Tanya, you're reading all these things. How do you know that you're absorbing that information? Trying to kind of undermine what I was doing. That's fine. What I did was I applied my knowledge. So if I read a book or had a few takeaways from that, I would apply it. And I think the application in my knowledge was like the flick of the wrist. So if a key was the knowledge, the application was the turning of that key that then unlocked the door of opportunity. Okay, so that's how I managed to retain a lot of information. So if I read a book on marketing and branding, guess what I did? I learned how to market and brand one of my side businesses. The real game changer here was the application of the information. Because when you read books or you read the paper, how much of it do you actually remember? You might remember some of the interesting stuff, but the stuff that really kind of sticks in and makes a change in your life is the stuff that you've practiced. Now, I call this application a series of social experiments. It sounds a bit intense, but basically, if I was learning about communication in the workplace, well, I'd take some of those communication insights, practical tips, and apply them at work. Now, this series of social experiments changed my life very quickly. Okay, within 3 months only, I was able to reinvent myself from a lawyer to a marketing professional. So while in these marketing and advertising agencies, I started to look up the ranks towards my bosses and thought, if you can run this agency, gosh, maybe I can run one too. And I started a side business where I did marketing and branding for lawyers. And in my first year was nominated for an innovation award. So by consistently applying what I was learning, I was able to increase my salary, my base salary in my advertising jobs by $20,000 each year. Now, as a first timer, a newbie in the industry, this is almost unheard of. And then I wanted more. I set my sights on my direct boss, which is the head of the marketing department, and I started applying for those roles. So within 3.5 years, I became the head of marketing for an international business. And my next role was again head of marketing for another international business. I was high on information and really comforted by the results, the real practical physical results that I was experiencing. Not just in my title changes, but the way my life changed, what was coming into my bank account, how I was able to control my diary and the people I saw. The fact that I was able to create the types of relationships and experiences that I wanted. No longer was I living life primarily in response. I was the creator of the life that I wanted. Now, I did the big work. I did the personal work, and that led to big transformations and quickly. And while there was great success in my career and in the way my relationships were developing professionally and even with my family and friends, it did have an interesting impact on some of my more personal relationships. I mean, I ended my relationship of 5.5 years because after trying and applying what I was learning, I wasn't getting what I needed. The truth is, I knew what I wanted and I knew what I needed to experience and I knew what I was able to give. And getting that kind of clarity meant that, yeah, the breakup was quite hard, but because I knew what I wanted, I was able to move through that transition and transition out of that a lot more easily than if I hadn't done the personal development work. And because I was practicing the type of work that I'm preaching about, I was able to achieve and experience what I wanted in my career, my businesses, and my relationships a lot faster. So that meant I had to go to the drawing board again and figure out the next thing that I wanted to achieve, the next level of experience, connection, intimacy that I wanted. And from a professional perspective, this meant certifying as a high performance coach with Brendon Burchard of the High Performance Institute. And now I coach the CEOs, the heads of department, the entrepreneurs, the parents, and the students with helping them get the clarity they want in their life, to understand what they want to experience, what they need, what they're willing to give, how that feels, and create that roadmap that is clear about their purpose, their mindset, and the habits that they need to demonstrate in order to achieve their goals. To confidently create the careers, the relationships, and lifestyles that they truly want. It's not easy to shed old skin, but this is part of your rebirth. Absolutely everything in life begins with clarity and getting the plan right. I'm not here to tell you what to achieve, or who you should listen to, or which direction you should go in next. I'm here to help you figure out how you can do that for yourself.